Hey, slide over here. Looks like a connection. A little bit of a connection here. Let me know when you're on in the comments, guys and gals. I hope you're all doing well. It's your first time here. Welcome. If you haven't seen my other videos yet, go take a look at them. If you want to get updated on all the stuff, if you participate in streams every week, make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, and hit the notification too, so you know exactly when everything's going on the channel. You're updated on everything. And I'll wait another minute or so, and then we'll get into it. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to go over a 12-week workout plan for the marathon. If you have any questions along the way, hit me up in the comments on the side with some questions. If you need to reach me directly, my email is blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. I have an Instagram page too called Top of the Line Running. So take a look at that as well. I put things out there as well. But today we're going to focus on the marathon. I've done a couple live streams. My last one was half marathon. Then I did 10K and 5K prior to that, 12-week workout schedules. So I'm giving you the workouts. I'm going to give you a midweek workout and a late week workout in terms of how to build and progress towards the marathon. And this is essentially if you've been running for a little bit, if this is not your first marathon. If you want something more along that regards, take a look. I've got a marathon training program for absolute beginners, and I've got marathon training programs for all different levels as well. But this will give you an idea of how to plug in workouts and the running around it based on your schedule, your lifestyle, what type of volume you can handle, age, and so on, whether you're a coach or an athlete. So this gives you an idea, and you'll have a bunch of workouts. And here you're gonna have 24 workouts, and then you'll also have the workouts that are on my channel already that you can mix and match too. So I want you to have as many workouts as possible. So with that, I have it broken down into 3 blocks of 4 weeks each, okay, with a little bit of a different emphasis on each cycle. So let's get right to it. We'll go to week 1. Do or die. How you doing? London. All right. Welcome, UK. Welcome, London. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being on. I appreciate it. All right. Got the UK in the house. So let's go to week 1. Okay. If you have a pen and paper, make sure you can write this stuff down. You can watch the video later as well and write things down. I'll eventually, and I haven't gotten to it yet, I'll eventually be putting PowerPoint things in here so you can just refer right to the documents themselves and look at them as well. So in case you don't want to write stuff down. But so week 1, early week. Let's just say that, let's say here the workout is, let's say you're working out Tuesday and then Friday, or Wednesday and Saturday. Okay. So that way you have a couple of days of recovery in between each workouts on a rolling nature. So week 1, you do your warm up and your drills and strides. I think that varies. Warm up, drills, strides, stuff like that. Some people warm up a mile, some people warm up 3. Depends on the volume you're training at. So you do your warm up, you do drills and strides to get loosened up, and then we do 2 times a 200-meter effort at let's just say marathon pace. Let's just say for instance, marathon pace is 8 minutes, which is 3:30. So you do 2 times 200 effort at that pace with an equal jog recovery, just to get the heart rate elevated a little bit and get your body moving. And then we're going to look for a hill. Okay, we're doing 10 times 400-meter uphill runs. Okay, the focus is staying upright, leaning fast on the flats, but obviously the pace will be a little bit slower. But the idea is staying upright and having good form. And this is a good form of leg power, leg speed development. It's also a little bit more forgiving and a more non-invasive way to really run hard. It doesn't beat up your legs as much as flat hard running does. So if you can get it on a soft surface, even better. But the goal is 10 times 400-meter uphill runs. You jog down nice and easy after each one. You lean into the hill a little bit as you're going down, essentially that's downhill up right here, instead of leaning back away from it, because that takes the stress off your joints, like your Achilles and your lower back and stuff like that. It's a little bit more safe to do that. So please don't mind my hat, by the way. It's cold out here. So 10 times 400-meter uphill runs, you jog down recovery. You take a 4-minute recovery after the final one. And then you do 3 miles at marathon pace. So again, if we're looking at 3:30, it's 8 minutes. So, and 3 miles at marathon pace, you take a 3-minute recovery, and then you do 2 more 200s at marathon pace on the other end to transition out of the workout into the cool down. So doing the 3 miles at marathon pace after these hills helps you get familiar with locking into marathon pace when you're fatigued. It helps simulate a later part of the race. You can do it both ways. You can sandwich the hills in between marathon pace running. So it depends on how fit you are, but this is a good way of getting marathon pace running towards the end of a workout instead of at the beginning. So And then late week, let's just say Saturday, the long run. Okay, heavy emphasis on the long run in this particular cycle. So let's just say we're at 14 miles, 6 of it's at marathon pace. Okay, even early in the season. Again, this is provided you've done some running prior to. So 6 miles of it at marathon pace. So 6 miles of it at 8-minute pace. The rest of it's just steady, 8:45 to 9:15 around there. About 45 seconds to actually a little bit faster than that. Yeah, 45 seconds to 75 seconds slower than marathon pace. So 8:45 to 9:15, and then 6 of it at marathon pace. Okay, that's the long run. So, and then you have a couple days recovery, and then week 2. So week 2, you do your warm up, your drills and strides, 2 times the 200 meter again with a jog equal recovery at marathon pace. Okay, now we're doing 10 times 1,000 meters with a 90-second recovery, but they're all at marathon pace. So this is just a good rhythm workout. A good rhythm workout. So if you're looking here, if it's 8-minute pace, and at about 4:55 to 5 minutes for the thousands. Okay, 90-second recovery, and you keep going. And then on the back end, you do 2 times 200 again at marathon pace, and then you go into your cool down. Okay, late week, now we go up to 16 miles for the long run. Okay, just nice and steady, relax. You can even do a couple strides after if you want to turn over a little bit when you're fatigued. 100 max power. How are you? If training for a marathon like Boston, would you adjust training plan to do more hills or the long run on similar terrain, not change? So this is a great question. And I actually go about this in a lot of my other videos. Simulation is important. So if you're training for like a Boston or like in New York or something like that, those are rolling marathons. So the more often you can get your long runs and even some workouts over rolling terrain, that's good because it'll simulate the race. It's much more difficult to lock into a goal pace, and I would give a little bit more, leeway or flexibility on goal pace for hilly courses because you never really know what you're going to expect. So, but to answer your question, Max, I would definitely do some long runs, most of them, and a lot of workouts over rolling areas, most definitely. So that's a great question. Simulate as much as possible. If you're running something flat like London or Chicago or something like that, then you can lock into more flat stuff. But that doesn't mean not run hills. Like I said here, hill repeats is an important form of strength development and speed development, whether you're running a flat marathon or a hilly marathon, doesn't matter. Okay. So the long run in week 2 is 16 miles. Okay. Week 3, warm up drills and strides. Now we do a mile at marathon pace, like a mile at 7:55 to 8 minutes. And again, for everybody who doesn't know, we're just using 3:30 as an example here for the marathon, which is 8 minutes per mile. Okay, so we do that 7:55 to 8 minutes. 8 minutes, you take a 4-minute active recovery to help it, so it elevates the heart rate so you can transition into the workout. Now we're doing the first of 3 or 4 speed fartleks. This one is 16 times 1 minute hard and 1 minute easy. So the 1 minute hard stuff, you're going anywhere from half marathon pace down to 5K pace. Okay, this is a good rhythm workout, and speed fartleks like this are really, really good at helping you become more efficient with your running posture. Okay, and it teaches you how to run fast while maintaining good form, which translates well to the marathon because energy conservation and keeping upright and staying with good form is very, very important. Okay, so 16 times 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. You take a 4-minute rest at the end to the last one, and then you do one more mile at marathon pace. So back up to 7:55 to 8 minutes. That will feel like a crawl after your speed fartlek, and then you do your cool down. Okay, workout 2 on week 3, 18-mile long run with 8 miles of it marathon pace. So again, let's just say you're doing 8:45 to 9:15, and then you work into that's your steady 75 seconds. Even if you start at 9:30, that's fine. You work your way down, and then you lock into 8 miles at marathon pace. You should be able to run 6 to 8 or even 10 miles at marathon pace. More likely 8. At about in your first cycle of training. And if you're starting from scratch, different story. So take a look at my beginner's marathon program. It's different. Okay, but here should be able to run about 8 miles at marathon pace. Okay, week 4. You do your warm-up drills and strides 2 times 200 meters with a jog equal recovery at around marathon pace or a little faster. Now we're doing 7 to 8 times 1 mile repeats. All right, with a 2-minute recovery at marathon pace and even slightly faster. And you progress down. You can do it from 7:55 to 8 minutes, and you work your way down to half marathon pace, 7:45, if you can, for the last 1 or 2. Okay, that's a nice workout. And then in the back end, you do 2 by 200 again, marathon pace, and then you cool down. And then lastly, in week 4, 16-mile long run. So we cut it back, let's just say about 90-95%, which is essentially you're looking at 9:30 to 8:45 around there per mile if the goal race is 8 minutes. So that's your first cycle of 4 weeks. Okay, we emphasize some hills, some speed fartleks, and some kind of race pace stuff. So we got a little bit of everything. Okay, and then we kind of just building up the long runs. All right. So week 2 now we're going to get a little bit more. Cycle 2 we're going to get a little bit more aggressive. So week 5, do your warm up drills and strides 2 times 200 meters with a jog equal recovery, and then now we're doing a 5K with a 4-minute recovery at marathon pace, a 3K with a 3-minute recovery at marathon pace, and then 2 times a 2K with a 2-minute recovery at half marathon pace. If that's a little too much, you can even bump it down to 2 times 1K at half marathon pace with a 2-minute recovery still. So that's that workout. And then in the back end, 2 times 200 again at about half marathon pace, and then you go into your cool down. So it's a little bit more of an aggressive workout. It progressively gets faster. And then week 5 long run is 18 miles with 10 of it at marathon pace. So we're gradually adding a little bit more running at marathon pace. Okay, that's the long run for week 5. And again, we're doing a 12-week program. Week 6, workout 1, warm-up drills and strides. As usual, you do a mile at marathon pace again. It's kind of similar to week 3. Mile at marathon pace is 7:55 to 8 minutes to elevate the heart rate to help you transition into the workout. Now we take a 4-minute recovery and then speed fartlek number 2. So we're going from 10 to 16. Okay, 10 to 16 times 1 minute hard and 1 minute easy. So 16 times 1 minute hard and 1 minute easy, progressing from half marathon down to like 5K pace. So fast rhythm running, okay? Teaching yourself how to recover on the easies at a little bit more of a steady pace as well. So, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hang on. Everybody, do you still have sound? Okay. So, again, this is 16 times 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. Okay, with a 4-minute recovery after the last one, and do 1 more mile at marathon pace, 7:55 to 8 minutes. Okay, good. And then you do your cool down. Okay, so that's workout 6. I'll repeat it in case we lost sound. Okay, for Dewey Dice, since he lost a little bit of sound. So that's you do a mile at marathon pace after your warm up and drills and strides. Take a 4-minute recovery, then speed fartlek number 2. So 16 times 1 minute hard and 1 minute easy. Okay, you're going from half marathon pace down to 5K pace for the 1 minute hard efforts. Okay, and then on the back end, you take a 4-minute recovery after the last one, and then you do 1 more mile at marathon pace, 7:55 to 8 minutes, and then you cool down. All right. Long run that week is 16 miles, a nice relaxed progression. Let's just say from 9:30 down to 8 minutes. Okay, or 8:15 around there. All right. Week 7. To warm up your drills and strides, and then we're doing 2 times 200 meter effort again to get the elevated heart rate up, get the pace into the legs with a jog equal recovery. 10 times kilometer, again with a 90-second recovery, but instead of doing them in marathon pace, now we're doing them in half marathon pace. Okay, so a little bit faster. All right, with a 90-second recovery. And then you take a 200 meter jog, again, at about a half marathon pace with a jog equal recovery, and you cool down. Okay, long run for week 7 is two options. Okay, if you found the half marathon race, this is a good time to do it. They generally about 5 weeks out from a marathon. If not, this is a good week to do a simulation run. So let's just say, and you can treat it as like a 20 or 21 mile long run. So let's just say you do a warm up of 2 to 3 miles. Okay, you drill strides. Now we're shooting for 15 to 16 miles to simulate at marathon pace. So the goal is to run 15 to 16 miles consecutively at marathon pace. Okay. And then on the back end, you do your 2 or 3 mile cool down, and that acts as like 20 to 21 or 22 mile day. Okay. At this point, you should be able to run 15 to 16 at marathon pace. It'll also give you an idea of how ready you are for the marathon. Okay. And any adjustments that you need to make along the way. And if it's a half marathon race, you could still do like a 3 mile warm up, 3 mile cool down, a 4 mile cool down, and make it a 20 mile day if you find a half marathon race about 5 weeks out. Okay. But the simulation is just as good. So week 8. Workout 1, warm up drills and strides 2 times 200. Now we're going 4 times 2 mile. Okay, with a 2:30 recovery at marathon pace, working down to half marathon pace, so from about 8 minutes per mile down to about 7:45 per mile. Okay, and then on the back end, take 2 by 200 meters again with the half marathon pace. Cool down. And you can eat if you want. If you don't feel like you're recovered, and you could do the 2 mile efforts at the end of the week instead of the beginning of the week. Okay, and turn that into the long run. So again, 4 times 2 mile, you warm up, let's say 3 miles in the front, 3 miles in the back, and you do this, it adds up to about 14, 15. So feel free to do it on the weekend and run easy during the week if you haven't recovered yet. Sometimes folks haven't recovered from the simulation or the half marathon race. And if it's a race, obviously don't do this workout if you're coming back from a race 2 or 3 days later. So you can turn it into another speed fartlek if you want. Okay, but that's up to you, depending on how you recovered. Recovering from half marathons is a little bit different than recovering from 5Ks and 10Ks and stuff like that. So something to keep in mind. Don't hesitate to do this workout at the end of the week and make it as part of the long run. Okay, so now that's cycle 2. Okay, so we emphasize some marathon pace and half marathon pace. We got a little bit more aggressive with the long runs. Okay, progression type long run, and we threw a simulation in there to see how ready you are, because we're at this point 4 weeks out. Okay, so let's get into that. Last cycle, week 9, workout 1. You do your warm up, your drills and strides. You do a mile at marathon pace again, 4-minute recovery. Okay, so 7:55 to 8 minutes, and then speed fartlek number 3. Now we're doing 24, or 20, between 20 and 24, 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. Okay, with a 4-minute active recovery after the last one, and you do another mile at marathon pace, 7:55 to 8 minutes. For those that are just on, we're just using 3:30 marathon as an example. So that's why I'm doing mile at marathon. That's why the mile's at 8 minutes here. Mile at marathon pace, and then you do your cool down. So that long rep helps you transition into the short fartlek, and then the long rep at the end helps you transition out of it. So for those of you who have not heard me say this, so when I do a workout when I prescribe a workout with like kind of longer reps, I do 200 meters efforts in the beginning and in the end, just 2 of them, just to kind of lock into the pace and to kind of transition out of the workout. When I do something like a short speed fartlek, I do a longer rep, like 1,000 or a mile rep in the beginning and in the end, to help you elevate the heart rate and get the full benefit of the workout, but also transition outward as well. So that's the logic behind the mile effort. Okay, and then you do your cool down. Long run that week is a 20-mile long run, your second 20 of the cycle, with 10 miles at marathon pace. If you could do, miles 9 through 19 at marathon pace and then take the last mile to just cool down nice and easy, that's good. You need to know what it feels like to be running marathon pace towards the end of these long runs. Okay. Week 10, warm up drills and strides, 2 by 200 meter effort at marathon pace to have marathon pace with a jog eagle recovery, 5 times 1.5 mile with a 2-minute recovery, progressing from marathon pace down to half marathon pace. So progressing from 8 minutes a mile down to 7:45 per mile. Okay. And then you do 2 by 200 meters again, and then you cool down. Okay, long run that week. Now we're cutting back in the long run a little bit. 17-mile long run. All right. And then we're doing 8 miles at marathon pace minus 5 seconds. So the goal is, instead of 7:55 to 8 minutes, now we're doing 7:55 to 7:50. Right around there. Okay. 8 of them. 17-mile long run. Okay. We cut back the volume this entire 4-week block. What I recommend for my athletes is cut it down to essentially close to the goal volume that you want to run and stay there for the 4 weeks instead of dropping 10% or 15% every week. It's much easier to adapt to this way. If you cut it down, by 20, 30% or whatever it is, and you stay there, you'll feel a hell of a lot different towards the end of the cycle. You'll feel more fresh. So I encourage folks to do that. Just a recommendation. So it's up to you to do it or not. Okay. And if you're a coach, it's up to you to decide whether you want to prescribe that for your runners. Week 11, 2 weeks out, warm up drills and strides, 2 by 200 meters at marathon pace, 6 times 1 mile with a 2-minute recovery at marathon pace down to half marathon pace. So again, 8 minutes down to about 7:45 per rep. Okay. 2-minute recovery, 2 by 200 meters on the back end, and then you do your cool down. Long run that week this is the last long run, 14 miles with 6 of them at marathon pace minus 10 seconds. So now you do 14 miles with 6 of it at about 7:45 to 7:50. Okay. And that's the last long run. The hay's in the barn now. So race week, week 12, you warm up, and this is just a light, easy workout, but you still want to do some kind of workout on the race week because you want to keep your body in the rhythm of going hard twice per week. Okay, so this particular workout is warm up drills and strides. You do your 2 by 200 meter efforts with a jog equal recovery, and then 4 by 800 meters. Okay, with a 2-minute recovery from marathon pace down to half marathon pace. So essentially running in like 4 minutes down to about 3:50 for the 800 meter efforts. Just good rhythm work. Okay, and then you do 3 times 200 meters on the back end and half recovery, and you cool down. And that's the last workout. Very light, small, but just they're going. And then that weekend is marathon time. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Does it make sense? Do you see the logic? Now, this one here, this last cycle, again, I'm cutting back the volume and keeping it there. So let's just say you're at 70 miles per week, just as a random example, and I cut it by, 30%, right? You're going to be around, just under 50 miles and staying there instead of going, 60, 50, 40, or whatever it is. When you drop it every week like that, it could take the rhythm, take your legs out of rhythm. And sometimes you might feel off, and you don't want to feel off the last cycle or the week of a marathon. That's why I cut it back immediately to like 50 or something around there and stay there. So your body can adapt to the more intense type workouts and to the more aggressive long runs. And now you're getting this marathon stuff, the long runs that, a lot of marathon pace are slightly faster towards the end of the run. At this point, you want to be doing those types of runs. So any questions? Any questions at all? From my UK friends and my non-UK friends, anybody have any questions? Okay, this is something, again, you can plug and play. You can mix and match with your own training. So, and I would encourage you to take a look at my marathon training plans, just so you can see how things are laid out. You could use it as a template to follow or something to modify into something that is best for you and your athletes. So it's completely up to you. Do or die. Could you swap your faster stuff with a weekly 5K park run, 5K effort, or do you feel this is so aggressive? A weekly 5K race, do you mean, do or die? If that's the case, I would probably not swap them out for a 5K. Once you could swap it out for a 5K race. I wouldn't run that many 5K races before a marathon, but I'm not against running maybe 1 or 2 races before a marathon either. But at the same time, this particular stuff kind of is good rhythm running, and it's good to do as well as a 5K, if that makes sense. I think 12 weeks is ideal for beginners, for an absolute beginner. I'm more 14 or 16 is more ideal. So if you want me to do a 16-week live stream, I'll do that next time. I'll be happy to do that, and you'll see the difference between this. But again, people that have been running, if you've been running races and stuff like that, and you're already in shape, then 12 weeks is a good amount of time. But I always like 16 as well. So so feel free, if you want me to do a 16, just let me know, and I'll do a 16-week broken down program so you can see the difference. Do or die, just the workout, the interval stuff. Make sure I understand again. Swap or faster stuff with the weekly 5K effort. You can alternate them and stuff like that. I like these speed fartleks because they complement the longer stuff really well. So, and it's good rhythm running. I'm not saying 5K isn't, but that's why I have them kind of spread out like 3 weeks apart from each other, or 4 weeks apart, so that you can get the advantage of this, and it transitions nicely back into the longer stuff. So, but again, you could do that too. You can put in a 5K workout or something like that instead of a speed fartlek. Anything at 5K pace access speed development for the marathon anyway. But I also like the rhythm stuff. But again, if you can find a race or 2 leading up to your marathon, that's good. It's good. Don't hesitate. Declan, have another marathon 13th of February. Just finished one last Saturday. What do you recommend training wise to keep in shape? 13. You finished one yesterday. Which one, Declan? And good job. Let me check I'm going to check the calendar to see how many weeks you have in between now and February 13th. You have to factor in recovery too. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're 12 weeks away, Declan. So you can definitely do some maintenance stuff, and a little training cycle here too. What I always recommend too, and if you haven't seen my other videos, I recommend 2 weeks of no running. Then that doesn't mean doing nothing. What I have folks do is that what I prescribe, and for my runners, is the first week is completely off, no exercise at all. Obviously, full recovery. The following week, you're alternating between an off day and 20 to 30 minutes of cross training, whether it's bike or just cross training workout or swimming, something. You kind of work your way back, you transition back upward. In your case, if you did that, you'd have 10 weeks left. So if you did that, you'd have 10 weeks left after a 2-week kind of recovery cycle, which would still give you enough time, and you can build up to, quickly build up to a solid volume and then just stay there for a couple of weeks and then taper back a little bit. So, some maintenance things like, obviously you get a couple of more long runs in, but let me ask you this, Declan. How long was your long run leading up to this marathon? And how many times did you do it? Give me as much intel as possible because it'll make it easier for me to kind of make some suggestions. Chasery, how you doing? I was about to ask the question about taking time off. You just answered that question for marathon training. What would you suggest after a cross country or tracks? For cross country or track, like if you're training for 5K or 10K, whatever, I still recommend a week off. After, because if you did a 12 to 16 week training block for races, I recommend folks taking a week off, or I give my athletes a week off, and then we do an easy week after that, and then it's easier to build back up that way because the recovery process is not as long for cross country as it is for a marathon. It's just a longer recovery cycle. But that's generally what I would do. I would give folks a week off, and the next week you maybe go half volume. So let's just say you were running 60 miles a week. That week you come back maybe 30, just to kind of get the legs moving again, and then back up to maybe 45 the following week, and then back to 60 the following week, or something like that. And that way you're back into things. You're giving yourself recovery, but you let yourself adapt as well back into the training plan. That's kind of how I differentiate recovering from a marathon and half marathon, a cross country, and stuff like that. Whether you're training for 5K or 10K, I still kind of have the same protocol in terms of recovery, the week off and then an easy week afterward. And then you can gradually phase back into things over the next 2-3 weeks, a lot easier than you would in the marathon. But since somebody like Declan's running, so you did a 17 and an 18 and 19, about 50 miles per week. Okay, so that's pretty significant. 17, 18, 19. Oh, and 220s. I just noticed that. You're in 220s on 50 miles per week. That's pretty aggressive. What I would probably do is get up to 55, 60 if you could. Hey, Declan, do me a favor. I want to write some stuff down. Send me an email at blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. And today, like as soon as we're done with this, if you can, just send me an email with the information you just shared with me. Okay, and I'll write it out for you. What my suggestions would be for the next 10 weeks or so. So if you don't mind, Declan, again, it's blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. I want to be able to kind of dissect that a little bit and give it a look and spend a little bit of time putting something together for you, if that's all right. So I appreciate it, Declan. Chasery, doing my first legit training plan. My coach has me taking a week off of running, and then the week after starting running 35 minutes a day, 6 times a week. Yeah, I mean that's it's like an easy week after an off week. That's about that's good. That's good. And if you think about it, let's just say you're running 7 minutes per mile, 35 minutes, that's 5 miles times 6, that's 30 miles. 30 miles. That's which is pretty solid. So, and then you kind of build from that. You build off of that, Chasery. So, but that's about right. I mean, you do need a break from, especially if you've been going hard for 12 weeks, 14, 16 weeks, you need a break. The body needs to recharge. So, and recovery is just as important as the hard training. And a lot of folks neglect that part, the recovery part. So I would definitely encourage you to take advantage of it. Take advantage of the week off and take advantage of the easy week. And then they'll probably ease you back into things. That'd be my guess. So do or die. You previously done 20 miles at 650 pace. All right, so sub 3 hours. Okay. Marathon pace 3 to 4 weeks before, but suffered the last 3 miles. Any tips to deal with fatigue? You did 20 consecutive at 3. Well, now what you can do now, do or die, is you can do like the long runs I was saying, 10 miles or like a 20-mile long run, but you do the last 10. And you can do this, so let's just say you did 3 times 20 miles, right? Broken out into pieces. The first time you could do it is 20 miles at marathon pace. Okay, you steady progression the rest of the way. The next time you do 20 miles with the last 6 miles at marathon pace. And then the next time you do it is 20 miles with the last 10 or 12 at marathon pace. You gradually build on it, but every time you do it, you're doing that race pace stuff towards the end of the run instead of the Because a 20 mile, that's an aggressive run to do. This is a different way of kind of doing it. So that's kind of what I would do. But if you can do 20 at marathon pace, but again, tapering off, that's a hard thing to do and a hard thing to recover from. So I don't know many people who do 20 at marathon pace. Okay. So that's a good way to do it too. Do your long runs. And then even if you got up to like a 22-mile long run, you can do the last 7 or 8 miles of that at marathon pace or slightly faster. Training your body to do marathon pace towards the end on a regular basis is a good thing. Okay. And if you got to the point where you're running, a 22 with 10 or 12 at marathon pace, that's really good. That's really good. But that's essentially what I would recommend. It's not easy to do 20 at goal marathon pace. It's not. You could do a 20-mile progression, okay? And in which case you start at, let's say, if marathon pace is 6:50 per mile, you started at about 8 minutes and you work your way down to 6:40, a little bit faster than marathon pace. So you're starting slower, and each 5-mile block, you get a little bit faster and a little bit faster and a little bit faster. So it's teaching your body how to progressively get faster, but also running, running marathon pace or slightly faster towards the end. And that's something that's not a lot of people do. But it's a great way of doing it too, do or die. Let me know if that makes sense. Chase Street, only thing I'm a high school runner. Right now, I really want to make my main distance the half marathon after high school. Track ends at the end of June. Can I fit in training before the end of August? Well, what year in high school are you, Chase Street? Okay, is the question. How old are you? And because that has to be factored into your training, or it should be factored into your training. So your age is important because your body's still kind of developing. It's in high school, so your joints and ligaments change as you grow. So, and the mechanics of your body change as you grow. So it's important to factor those things out until you stop growing, particularly when you want to train for longer stuff like the half marathon and the marathon. Just what I'm like, for instance, I had it when I was running in high school. I had a growth spurt between my junior and senior year. I grew 6 inches, and it threw my body off. And I had to train easy for a little while so that I can kind of adapt to my new size. So, and that's really important. Senior, but only 17. I'm an early birthday. All right. Okay, so 17 is better than 14 or 15. Make your distance the half marathon after high school. So you have until June. If track ends at the end of June, can I fit in training before the end of? Are you saying you want to run a half marathon at the end of August? And do you plan on running college in the fall? Is the other question, because that'll help. That'll factor into it as well. Let me know, Chase Ring. Do or die. Thanks for the advice. Appreciate it. Don't want to hog up the no, man. So they might direct. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Please, I have a baseball. Just so you know, I have a baseball YouTube channel. Okay, and I'm a big baseball fan. I have like 6,000 subscribers. And I get anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people on there at once. It's crazy, and more closer to 500. But think of how fast this thing scrolls up and down when on that one. And I do my best to keep up with it. I like to answer questions, so I'm happy to answer yours here. You're not clogging up. We only have a few people on here, so it's totally fine. I'm happy to help you, and that's why I do this, because I want to be directly available to you. So, and not everybody has that, so that's why I like to do these live streams. So, but feel free to message me too. Direct message me on Instagram, Top of the Line Running, or my email, blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer questions. So, but I'm glad you found something helpful. There's a lot of different ways to do long runs, do or die. So, and that's a lot of people don't do them all, but it's important to kind of test the waters a little bit and do different types of things. But you need to know what it feels like to run marathon pace towards the end of these long runs, because that's when things at the 20-mile mark, that's generally when the grizzly bear jumps on our backs. It's when the body starts to break down if you're not ready. So these types of things help with that. Yes, a half marathon at the end of August, hopefully. I'm not planning to run in college, so I don't have to factor in college. Well, if it's your first half marathon, after your track season, I would actually, still take an off week and an easy week, and just kind of build a base and see where your fitness is first. What you can do is, after your track season, you can test your fitness at like a mile, and what it'll do is it'll help set your training paces based on your current fitnesses. Okay, and at that point, it'll help make it easier to see where you're where you're estimated to be for the half marathon. and it'll give you an idea what to do for your runs and workouts. I actually have 2 videos on my channel. I would take a look at them if you haven't yet. It's how to set your test yourself a 1-mile time trial and what it tells you about your fitness, and then how to set the right training paces for everything, whether it be easy runs, steady runs, long runs, workouts based on what you run for the 1-mile time trial. Because what it does is it ensures you're not training beyond your fitness. You're not running over your head right now. So, and especially if it's your first half marathon, it's a longer race than 5K, 3K miles, stuff like that. So you're not going to really know what to expect. So I would go into it without any expectations and see what you run, because then it'll give you a better idea on how to set your training accordingly. But I would use that, since it looks to be about maybe 8 weeks after your track season. You're only going to have 6 weeks or so of actual training. I would be building a foundation at that point, building a base, and along the way you can add some strides and some hill running and some tempos and things like that, but nothing crazy. Let the half marathon act as one of your long runs, but you can test yourself in the half marathon and see how you do, and test your splits if you can, and see how did I get stronger along the way? Did I slow down along the way? So those types of things, that data will give you a lot of intel about your fitness. Okay. And then you have a better idea on how to set your training after that, because if you really want to try it again afterward, you'll know exactly what you need to do after the first one to set up your training accordingly, so you can have a significant improvement. And then you'll run more kind of indicative to where your fitness is. So if that makes sense, Chase, let me know. And I hope that was helpful. But again, feel free to reach out to me too. I can help. If you need any guidance or any and suggestions or whatnot, I'm happy to help. But also take a look at my marathon training plans. You see how things are laid out. All of my training plans on my YouTube channel are fully detailed. So, and I have a first time half marathoner program, so you could you see how the progression and mileage is and stuff like that, so you know how to build it yourself. And at the end of the day, you'll have a lot of weapons in your tool shed just by watching the videos on this channel. You'll know a hell of a lot better how to prepare for these things than you would under other circumstances. But I would definitely encourage you to take a look at them. But still, I'm happy to help out at any time at all. I got a little eager during my cross country season and did some long runs of 10, 11, and 12. That's okay, because based on your age, senior in high school, when I was coaching in high school, I got some of my athletes up to 12, but most of them up to 10 as a senior. So that's not too aggressive, but that's also a good long run to help. That's a good conditioning point for the half marathon, because I generally have first time half marathoners get up to 10 or 12 also. So that's not bad. Not bad. You averaged around low to mid 7s for those. Okay. Your main goal is to break 130 for the half. All right. So at about 652s, 650s, approximately 650s around there per mile. So it's possible. It's possible. I would be continuing to do your long runs if you can, some progression runs. And what kind of races are you running, and what times are you running? And you're running the mile on the 2 mile and stuff like that. Obviously, we're in cross country now, but give me an idea what you're running, and we'll have an idea of where you're at. Because that's a solid start, Chaser. I'll tell you that. For the long runs, that's solid. So, and it doesn't look like you're far off. Sub 130. So, and I actually have a sub 130 half marathon training plan on my video too. So take a look at that. So on my channel, you'll see the workouts, you'll see types of things. So you'll get a lot of intel on that too, and it'll give you a good idea based on where you're at during track and later on as to how close you are or how far you are. And again, reach out to me at any point. Happy to help you out with workouts or whatever. That's what my goal with this channel is, to help make as many people as better as possible. Okay, and I don't care whether you're running 30 minutes for the 5K, 40 minutes, or whether you're running 15. I want to help all of you. Anybody that wants it, anybody that's interested in learning more, I'm here for everybody. So, so that you guys and gals stick around, and I can work with you can learn as much as possible on the live streams or in the videos. But any other oh, here we go. Do or die. My goal is sub 3, but just doing the shorter stuff. 5K, 15, 10. 15, 10, 37, 10. Let me plug in. I have a calculator here. Strangely enough, it'll give me an idea. And do or die, did you run these things recently? These times? Let me know if you've run them recently. I'm going to give you based on a 5K of 18:10, your capabilities would currently lie around. So 18:10 puts you at approximately 37:40 for 10K. Okay, if your 10K is 37:10, then that means your 5K should be a little bit faster. So that gives you some intel right there. Based on a 37:10 10K, okay, I'm going to plug that in right now. 10K. Based on a 37:10 10K, your 5K should be around 17:55. So that tells you that doing a little bit more work at 3K and 5K pace is a good idea. In workouts. So that gives you some intel right there, do or die. But on your 37:10, I forgot to give you your marathon equivalents. My apologies. 37:10 puts you at 251.43. So yeah, a good amount under. That tells you that you know if you do the right marathon training, then that's within your capabilities. So yes, I hope you found that helpful, do or die. Kind of hard to judge where I'm at fitness-wise. The cross-country season was the first time I put in summer training. Good. So I haven't found a track season yet to judge your speed. And my school doesn't have indoor tracks. I ran 18:44 for a 5K. Okay. The problem with cross-country, too, it's not necessarily a problem, but some of the courses are flat. Some of them are hilly. So you factor those in as well. But 18:44 on a rolling course is definitely faster than 18:44 on the flat. So, hola, what's happening? Hey, what's happening? 1 month ago, I'm running a 3K or an 8K next week, which will definitely help you out more. Yeah, let's see what you do for the 8K. Let's see what you do. And then it'll give you a good idea on where your strength is for track. And then once you get an opportunity to run a mile, it'll give you an idea too of, because essentially if the shorter stuff like 400 and 800 is closer to your mile fitness than the 3K and 5K, then it means you got to do more work at 3K and 5K pace. If it's the other way around, that means you have to do more work at 400 and 800 pace. So it's either aerobic development or speed development. But a mile gives you a lot of data. So if that makes sense, Chaser. Declan, it's blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com is my email. What's happening, Ola? What is happening? Ola, I was actually just telling the folks here that I have a baseball channel. So Ola Perito on the comments here is one of my regular members of the baseball family. And we call it the 161 Mafia because it's primarily a New York Yankees channel. And so Ola's one of our Mafia members. So welcome, Ola. Welcome. Your goal is to break 5 for the mile and to break 30 for your 8K this year. You break 5 for the mile, you'll be able to break 30 for your 8K. So that's a good goal, Chasery. That's a good goal, and it's something that once you have, you'll have built up a good strength foundation after cross country, to give you a good idea whether you can break 5 for the mile. So that's a good goal. Hola, do you run too, Hola? Do you train for these things? Come over to the 161 Mafia if you're a Yankees fan. That's right. That's right. Yeah, 161 River Ave is my baseball channel. I do live stream Saturday night, so we'll be doing one tonight. And so if you're a runner or a coach and you like baseball too, we have a lot of fun on that channel. So, and I want to build this up so we have a lot of fun on this channel too. What kind of running do you do, Ola? I mean, are you middle distance? This was a marathon workouts video, and last week I did half marathon. Road racer, fantastic. I have 2 guys running the Philadelphia Marathon tomorrow, and 2 guys that are in their mid-50s looking to run around 3:45. So, I have, I mean, this channel has like 200 videos of training, from the mile all the way up to the marathon. And I'm actually writing 3 books, and one of them is going to be all road racing. So, 5Ks mainly, but you wanted to check it out. Yeah, absolutely. I did a live stream on 5Ks, Ola, workouts. Check that out. I did stuff on 10K trends. Not to me directly if you want. blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Happy. So reach out to me, blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com, or my Instagram, top of the line running. And You've been going backwards on my video and telling other runners I know how to check out your videos. I can't. Uh, well, I get you. I appreciate telling people to check out the videos, and I appreciate you. Yeah, we have a lot of fun on the baseball channel. We have fun on the running channel too. I mean, my goal is to help a lot of people in the running community. I used to be a competitive runner, and I've been coaching for the past 2 decades, and I coach people from middle distance sprints to all the way up to the marathon, all ages. So, and I've got 200 videos training, all detailed training stuff. So I'm also a USATF certified by the USATF governing body coach, and I'm also a musculoskeletal and flexibility therapist. So I help keep people healthy too. So um, reach out to me, Ola. I mean, you know how to get at me. So I'm happy to help. I'd be very happy to help. And all of you, again, Chase Tree, all the rest of you, reach out to me on Instagram or on my email, and I'm happy to help. I really am. So I want to help as many people in running community as possible. But actually, so my 3 books, just so you know, and they're close to being finished. I got you, Ola. I got you. I appreciate the love too. Always, always. My 3 books. One is going to be cross country. One is going to be running track races from sprints up to the 10K, and then road racing up to the marathon. Fully detailed programs. They're going to be the most comprehensive books out there. Like, my goal is for people to look at these books and be like, where have these books been? They're not anywhere. These books are going to be for the masses, and I'm telling you, they're going to be game changers. They're about 150 pages each. I'm almost done with all 3 of them, so they'll be coming out, in early 2022. So, where am I getting equivalent race times from? Is it from your training coach? It's that, and you can even use the Daniels running calculator. It's a very accurate calculator. I have, based on science, I've used that, and I've used a lot of other areas, but they all fall into the same same area. But Jack Daniels is one of the more esteemed, exercise physiologists and distance coaches around. And I actually used it right from the Daniels running calculator. I'll show you. So V.dot calculator. Okay, I put in 3710. Right now, look up here, equivalents for the 5K, for the marathon. Those are the equivalents. Now, keep in mind, it doesn't mean if you run 37 today that you can run 251 today. That means you have that in your capability. So if you transition into marathon training, then that's within your reach. That doesn't mean you can run all these times today. So just want to be clear on that. I'm not sure yet. I'm probably going to have them. I'll definitely have a link so you have access to the books, but I'll probably wind up promoting them I'll publish them on Amazon as well, so that they're easy to get. But I'll definitely have them on my channel too, so you have a link that you can go directly to them. So they'll be available and they'll be reasonably priced. But I've been working on these things for 2 years, so using insight from other coaches. They've been reviewed by coaches and very, very positively reviewed. And the detail in this is going to be pretty extensive. So, and you'll have a lot do or die, a lot of detail on that stuff. But again, check out the Daniels running calculator. It is very accurate, and I use it and I recommend it for other folks too. I use it for a lot of my athletes. So, and it helps. I've learned from him. I've gone to his clinics. I've learned from him directly. Coaches like Joe V. Hill, Marcus O'Sullivan, some of the best coaches in the world. I've been lucky enough to learn from these folks and come up with my own coaching philosophy over time. And it's constantly evolving. So there's always adjustments to the coaching philosophy, because every athlete has different needs and different abilities and different strengths and different weaknesses. So it's important to build have a philosophy that allows you to adapt to your athletes, to make it, more than they need, more than they would adapt to you. Because there's no one size fits all training plan for anybody. You can have 10 people and give them the same exact training. There'd be different results for all 10 of them. So that's why you need to learn learn about your athletes, get to know them, individual needs and stuff like that. The individualization is very, very important. You're welcome. Do or die. And once the links to my books come out, you'll have direct access to them. So if you want to buy them, you'll have it available to you. So my pleasure. Do or die. Yeah, this stuff. Take a look at the Daniels. I mean, I have all of his books too. The Daniels running formula, and it's helped me build my own programs as well. they all kind of feed off each other, coaches. So, and I come from a heavily interval trained program in high school into a different training program in college, and that's where I kind of became fascinated becoming into coaching, because I wanted to, like, the heavily interval train was only working for certain people. The other one was only working for certain people. So I wanted to learn how to build a program that works, that adapts to make it work for everybody. So, and that's what I've been doing over the last 2 decades. So, and it's been working a lot. So, um, do or die my pleasure. I'm looking forward to them too. I have them. I have my templates are all out. I'm making, the tweaks, and I'll have some images in there and stuff like that. So I have to make them all pretty and nice and stuff. So, but the content is going to be phenomenal. So, and all my videos, like you'll see my workout videos, all those times 10 are going to be in my books. So the workout content is crazy. I mean, and just for this live stream, I have top of the line running. So I have a book for everything. I have a book for my baseball channel. I have a book for my running channels, because I research everything. So, and all I will tell you, I mean, I do a lot of research for my baseball channel, and it's I talk about stuff that is up to speed and stuff like that. But I want to make sure the content I'm putting out is good, whether it's here on my running channel or the books. So the content is going to be good. It's going to be quality over quantity. I don't care if it's 300 pages, if it's baloney. I want you to have good stuff. So, and again, the books are easy because then you can highlight them. You could travel with them. You could take them with you. You can make it into your own program. So, I want you to become independent thinkers when it comes to this stuff too. So should you ever want to coach, you have as much weaponry in your toolbox as possible. So the goal is to make you better. So, but with that, I will wrap it up, because I do have I have a baseball live stream tonight. So I hope to see you there. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you. And try to keep it real, man. That's it. So training is never one side. Exactly. Ola, hit it right. You hit the button. You hit it right in the button, Ola. Well done. But thank you all for coming on, and have a great weekend. And I'll see you all next time.